and this is Circle Skirt Basics. Today we are talking about circle skirts and how easy they are to make. I'm wearing one of my favorite dresses. This is a Bonnie, and it has a double circle skirt, which is two circle skirts, one underneath the other for a cute little layered look. And I attach them individually, so they are two independent layers. That makes it fun for movement and dancing. Circle skirts are very easy to draft yourself using just your waist and length. With these two measurements, it's super easy to create your own circle skirt pattern. You can use the same method to make a flounce for a sleeve. Bell bottoms are popular, so you can put them on the bottom of a pair of jeans or some other kind of pant leg. Using a free circle calculator app, I will show you how to draft your own circle skirt that you can attach to any bodice or any sleeve or pant leg or whatever it is that you're making. I've written a blog post for 5 easy ways to modify a circle skirt. So once you learn how to make a simple circle skirt, the possibilities are endless. So let's go over to my workstation and I will show you how to draft your own circle skirt and how to use a pattern for a circle skirt. This is the Stuffed Friends freebie pattern. It's the raglan, and we made this in a previous video. My daughter has picked out the fabric she would like for her skirt, so we're going to be using this today. This is cotton lycra, and it's really stretchy. For a knit skirt, you just need a waistband and the proper circle skirt. A woven skirt, you will need to add a zipper or something like that, an opening closure of some sort. So here's our pattern. I'm going to show you how to cut the pattern first, and then we'll draft my daughter's skirt. She wants a matching one. So here's our fabric. We're going to lay our fabric out, and we're going to cut this on the double fold, and this is what this means. So you're going to lay your fabric nice and flat. We're going to take our pattern, and we're going to place it in the top corner. This will let us know how long we need to fold it and how wide we need to fold it. We don't want to waste fabric because, you know, fabric's expensive. So I'm going to mark right here with my thumb. This is the bottom of the skirt, and I'm going to fold it over. For our second fold, we're going to fold it over this way. So we're going to take our skirt piece again. We're going to line it up on the fold and on the outer edge. Now my next mark is going to be at the bottom of the skirt along the fold line. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to fold it over. Okay, so now we have a square. This square has two folds. It has the fold this way, and it has the fold this way. Up in this corner is where all the folds connect. So we're going to place the top of our skirt, which right here is the waist. We're going to place this in the top corner. Both sides of your skirt are going to be on each side of the fold. So we'll place that there, and you can see it fits perfectly, and there will be no wasted fabric. So I have 2 different kinds of cutting tools. I like rotary cutters. You can see mine is very well used. These are titanium spring-loaded shears. They are awesome. They really save your wrists. They just pop right back. So those are my favorite. But I'm going to use my rotary cutter. If you're working with a kid, make sure you're comfortable and they're comfortable with rotary cutters. Otherwise, give them a pair of scissors and they can cut this just fine with a pair of scissors. So I did the bottom edge, which is the bottom of our skirt. It's our waist, and I'm going to cut that out as well. So I'm cutting two little scoops. Scoop for the waist and a scoop for the bottom. Oops. Sometimes you need to go back with your scissors and just trim it, because 4 layers of fabric is quite a bit, and my blade is probably slightly dull. I should probably change that. So you don't have to throw this little circle away. You can make a little flower with it. You can gather the edges, make a little flower for your hair or something. But that's a cute little circle that you can use for something else. This is a little trick I picked up after making, I can't even count how many circle skirts, and then unfolding them and folding them back up just to quarter it. So it's already quartered for you. So before you open it, take a pin, and right here you already have these folds. We're gonna pin the folds. One there, and one here. So now our skirt has 2 pins in it. We're also going to go on this side and we're going to pin both of these folds. So when we open our skirt up, it's already quartered for us. That's going to make it very easy to attach to our bodice. And then just mark that other side. Okay. So here I have 4 pins in my skirt, marking the quarters. I'm going to open it once, and I'm going to open it again so you can see that it is in fact a full circle. There's no seams, there's nothing to sew except for the skirt to the bodice. So when we attach it, we're going to take our little bear bodice, little bear shirt, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to quarter this. So I'm going to match up the side seams. This is the front center. And now I'm going to find the back center. Here's the back center. The side seams will be the other 2 points. So there are 4 points, just like our skirt has 4 points. I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to take my skirt, lay it over the top, and I'm going to match up all the pins all the way around. So this one is the front. I'm going to match the side seam with the next one. Then I'm going to go to the back and match up the back. And then the side seam is the last one. Okay, so now your skirt and your shirt, your bodice, are attached and it's ready to sew. So my daughter wants her own matching skirt. Now I could grab the little lady, which has a circle skirt on it, and use the skirt for that. However, I don't have my pattern near me. And if you don't have a pattern for a circle skirt, you might be like, how am I going to do this? It's very simple. You just need 2 measurements. I got on my phone here. This is a circle skirt app that I use. In the perimeter is where you're going to put your waist. My daughter's waist is 21.5 inches, so we're going to put 21.5. Once that's in there, it's going to tell me every other measurement for this circle. The only other one we really need is the radius. So for me, it says 3.42. I'm going to round that to 3.4. You don't need the circle calculator to do that. You can do the math on paper if you'd like. I'm not a huge fan of math, so I prefer something to do it for me. So the circle calculator is a great app for me. So the 3.4 was our radius. The total length of her skirt is going to be 15 inches. So I came up with 18.4 for her skirt. Now I can only get 18 inches long. So I will make a few adjustments for myself with the hem or with the waistband, so it comes out to be the correct length for my daughter. But 18 inches will do just fine. So it's really close. So we're going to go 18 inches long, and that, we're going to mark that, just like we did with the bear. We're going to mark it, and then we're going to fold it over. So we folded it once this way. Our second fold is going to be this way. This is the fold corner up here. Just lay that across. Make sure everything lines up and everything's nice and even. Okay. So I'm going to take this out. And now we're ready to make our circle skirt. Okay, I've turned the fabric around. It's still folded this way and this way, so you have your double fold up top in the corner here. But I folded it, I changed it because this is easier to see the markings. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark our radius first. So in your corner where all your folds are, ours was 3.4, so you're going to measure out 3.4 inches. Starting at the corner, you're going to make several marks all the way around to make a circle. So after we mark this several times, now we can go back, connect these lines. We're going to cut this part out. This is the waist. This is the waist or the opening of your circle. Now the length. So we want 15 inches. Remember I said we were a little bit short. So I'm going to make this 14.5 inches. So I'm going to do the same thing. Starting at the marking we just made for the waist, I'm going to measure out 14.5 inches all the way around. The more markings you make, the easier it will be to cut out your skirt. So I'm going to cut out this top part first. This is our waist. And then I'm going to come down here and make sure that all your fabric gets into that cut. So I'm just going to smooth this out slightly and connecting the dots, just like a connect the dots worksheet you would do when you were a child. Connect every dot, nice and easy. Again, knit tends to roll, so make sure all of your fabric is nice and flat. Okay, once that's done, we're going to remove the extra fabric. Okay, and remember to mark your quarter points, which are the folds. It's already quartered for you, so don't waste that step. That is a great extra little freebie that this pattern gives you because you don't have to do it later. It's time saving. So we're going to mark that and open it up and mark the front. Okay, now our skirt is already marked in quarters, but we do need a waistband. So I'm going to set that aside. Okay, now that we have our skirt cut out, we need to make a waistband for the skirt because it won't stay up by itself. So we're going to take the rest of our fabric. I'm going to show you how to make it. It's very simple. First, you need to decide how tall you want your waistband. How high up on the waist do you want it to go? 4 inches, you're going to fold it over, so it'll end up being 2 inches. 2 inches, like as a standard waistband. If you want like a yoga style waistband, then I would go with like 8 inches or even a little bit more like 9. We're going to do, well, let's see how much fabric we have. That's pretty much going to determine what we're going to do today. So let's fold this long ways and see how wide it is. So we can do a 9-inch waistband, and I think that's what we're going to do. I think we'll make, my daughter would like that. She would love a yoga style band. So we're going to fold this in half. Now her waist was 21.5 inches. You do not want your waistband to be the same exact width as your skirt and her waist. It's not going to stay up. It's going to slide right off of her. So we're going to make this 85% smaller than her waist. To do that, I'm just going to grab my calculator and I'm going to plug in the numbers 21.5 and I'm going to multiply that by 0.85 and we get 18.275. So we're just going to go with 18.25. So I'm going to measure half of that. So just over 9 inches. And I'm going to fold this in half because I don't need the rest of the fabric. So I don't want to waste it. So we're going to fold this 9 inches, just over 9 inches. 9 1/8. Double check it. Make sure you have the right length, and I do, 9 1/8 inch. So I am going to, you need to add your seam allowance. So 9 1/8 inches is how long I need to make my cut. But I'm going to add 1/4 inch so I have room to work with for my seam allowance. So I'm actually going to cut this 9 1/4. Since it's folded in half, you do half of the seam allowance because you're going to end up with that on both ends then. So 9 1/4, that's how long I'm cutting my skirt. So the length of your skirt is 85% of your waist opening. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to take my ruler and measure how much room I have here. I can make this 9 inches wide. So I am going to make this 9 inches wide. Then she'll have a yoga band, and the yoga band is more like a Grow With Me band. So go 9 inches that way, and we're going to go 9 1/4 up, and everything should meet. And it does. So this is going to be our waistband. We're going to take our waistband and we're going to fold it in half this way and sew this side together here. So you're going to want to make sure you cut it with the stretch going the correct way. This way, not so much stretch. This way, this is going on around your waist. So you want the stretch going the long way. Okay, let me clean up my space and I'll see you at the sewing machine. Here we are at my basic sewing machine. I have the skirt that I put on our bodice just a second ago. We're just going to use our basic zigzag stitch. So I'm going to set my machine to zigzag, which is my number 3, just a basic zigzag. That tends to work for me. You can use the one that looks like the lightning bolt. That one works well for knits too, or check your manual to see what they suggest for knits. I'm going to go with a number 4 for my stitch length. We want it to stay nice and long and not tight so it can stretch. And we are going to sew this on. This is the front. I like to start near the side seam. Starting at the side seam hides your stitches, your beginning and stop stitches. So this is the front of my shirt and this is the back. So I'm going to start just behind the side seam on the back side of the shirt. So let's get going. We're going to put that right on there. Now with a circle skirt, you should not have to stretch it at all. This is made to fit exactly the opening of your bodice. So make sure my machine's on. There we go. Just going to zigzag our way. Remember to back stitch. We're just going to go all the way around the skirt. And here's another little tip. You can take this part off. This is the free arm. Or you can hold your skirt up and go around this way. The free arm is helpful, but I don't want to take everything apart right now. Remove the pins as you come to them, just in case. So you can adjust your... Remove the pins so you can adjust your fabric to make sure everything is nice and neat. And make sure your skirt is not in the way as you come around. Sometimes it will want to bunch up. See underneath there, it's trying to bunch up. You just want to pull it out of the way. Take out these pins. Take your time. If this is your first project or something you're starting out learning to sew with, just take your time. There's no reason to go fast. There's no reason to rush. Just make sure everything is nice and neat. And as you come to it, just remove the pins. See how nice that skirt fits right in to our opening. And I am out of bobbin thread. So I'm going to wind my bobbin and I will be right back. Okay, let's take this off. I will show you real quick with the free arm. That was without the free arm. Now we took it off and we can go around this way. So since I'm starting over, I'm going to back stitch again. Go a couple, back stitch. Some back stitch buttons may be up here in front. Some are on the side. They're all different places. Some machines do it automatically. Mine is not one of those. I do not have any fancy digital displays. I'm just going to keep going all the way around. You can see how nice this fits. There's no stretching involved. I'm not stretching the bodice and I'm not stretching the skirt. Just make sure everything lines up nice as you go. Remember to back stitch, lift up your presser foot, go straight back, clip it, remove that last pin, And now we have a bear dress. The only thing it's missing is the neckband, and the hem on the sleeve, and the skirt. So we will finish that up later. Okay, so now we're going to work on my daughter's skirt that we drafted from just her waist measurements. So I'm going to use my serger for this one since it's something she's actually going to wear, and I have my serger. I'm going to use that for her. So here's the skirt, and we've already quartered it back at my cutting table. So we're going to take her waistband, and we're going to match up these corners, and we're going to sew this edge together. So put that on the serger. You can do this on your regular machine as well. I'm just going to use my serger this time because it's faster and because it's better for apparel. The seams are going to be nicer. Okay. Once I have that sewn together, I'm going to take the seam and I'm going to match up this two ends of the seam and turn this over on itself. I'm folding this in half to create the band. I'm going to line up the raw edge, pinning it together as I go. I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'm going to find the quarter points. Halfway mark, and then halfway between the halfway mark. And that's how you find your quarter marks. So once it's all lined up nice and even, okay, almost there. Okay, now our band is all lined up nice and even. I'm going to start at the side seam, and I'm going to fold it in half. This end is going to be marked as my center, and I'm going to take that center and I'm going to match it up with the seam. Now I'm going to move this pin slightly so it's even, so it marks this quarter point. We're going to make 4 even spots. That's what quartering is, making 4 even, equal areas. Okay. So now we have our waistband. I'm going to take a look at my skirt. Because this is a directional fabric, I want to make sure we have these cutie marks going in the right way. So this is the direction I want my skirt to hang. So I'm going to make this the front. So since this is going to be the front, I'm going to mark the back with the seam of my waistband. So I'm going to start with the back. So turn my skirt around. I'm going to take the back, which is the seam side, line that up, and pin it together. Then I'm going to go around my skirt and match up all right sides together. This is always right sides together. I'm going to match up all of my quarter marks. It is much easier to do this with the skirt inside out, so I am flipping it inside out. So the skirt is inside out and the waistband is on the inside, or the right side, I should say. All right, now this is much easier to get together. There we go. Okay, last one. Line those up, pin them together. You can see this waistband does not fit perfectly into our skirt. It's not like the bodice we just put the skirt on for our bear dress. This is going to have to be stretched quite a bit actually to fit the skirt. So we're going to find the back. We're going to start in the back. Again, to hide your stitches. And we're going to stretch this before we put it under the presser foot. Stretch it to fit. Now the skirt will fit nice and evenly. Do not stretch the skirt, only stretch the band. I'm going to taking off the free arm so I can slide this all the way under and around. It makes it so much easier to sew. So as I'm going, I'm grabbing my pinned areas and I'm only stretching the band. I'm making sure the skirt is laying nicely on top. Very gently guiding it through to fit. Make sure you remove your pins since you're using the serger. If you're using clips, make sure you remove the clips, but those are easier to spot than a pin. So we're stretching only the waistband to fit the skirt and making sure that nothing is getting caught underneath that shouldn't be caught underneath. Everything is lined up correctly, nice and even. Taking your time. And there we go, here comes the end. Now I'm going to turn this right side out. The only thing left to do is hem it. Hemming it, you can do in several ways. I have a tutorial for roll hems, and that you can find on my YouTube channel as well. There's also a blog post if you want to do a roll hem, or you can just fold it under, stitch it across. That works too. It's knit, so it really doesn't need to be hemmed at all. It's not going to fray like a cotton woven fabric. So there really is no need to hem it other than to finish that raw edge. But that's it, there's our skirt. Today we made 2 circle skirts. One from a pattern, and you can see that was super easy. And the other one was just from our measurements. We made our own pattern. And here it is. Has a nice waistband. Now I did mention earlier 85% for the waistband. I want to correct that just slightly. My daughter is super skinny and I don't see her waist measurement changing. So I made this at 85% for her because I know she's going to stay that petite for quite a while. She's been the same waist measurement since she was like 3. 90% is average. You just want to make it slightly smaller than your circle skirt hole so that it stays up and stretches to fit. Stretches slightly and sits nice and on the waist. For my daughter, she's very petite, so I made it 85%. So I just wanted to let you guys know that you should really go with 90%, not 85. Sorry about that. So this is the waistband. You can sit it straight like this on the waist, or since it's a yoga style, you can fold it over, and then it sits like that. And it's super cute. She's gonna love this. I can't wait to give it to her. Next time, we will be putting on the neckband on our bear dress and talking about different ways to hem the sleeves and the bottom of your skirt. So until then, keep sewing and having fun.